时尚欧洲精彩呈现，观众朋友大家好，欢迎收看本期的欧洲大观，我是主持人黄杰。今天的节目都有哪些精彩看点呢？泳衣也可以具备高级时装的品质。赋予废旧材料新生命的大师，在节日中尽情释放自己的德国。在日常生活中，科技总是发挥着重要的作用，它能够让生活变得更简单。用织物做的屏幕、智能夹克、3D 打印的珠宝，柏林时装周重点展示了数字技术在时尚设计中的应用。设计师们一直在研究科技和时尚相融合的 IT 服饰，这样的服饰在时尚界的发展潜力巨大。下面我们就一起去看看他们的创作吧。
Bright ideas for tomorrow's fashion. A coat with a digital display, an illuminated ball gown, or LED lights woven into fabric. At Berlin Fashion Week, events like the exhibition IT Couture and the lecture series Fashion Tech have been bringing together technology and fashion.
It's opening up whole new opportunities for fashion and how it's made. Fashion can do and express more, as you can see from the interactive clothes. It's like science fiction. One day, I imagine I'll be able to change the color of my dress to fit my mood.
For the past 4 years, Berlin textile designer Veronika Aumann has been working to make ideas like that reality. She's designed a coat that can function as a screen. Aumann has been collaborating with Germany's prestigious Fraunhofer Institute. The challenge is to ensure the fabric meets the demands of technology and fashion.
The vision is that it should feel like a t-shirt, really light and comfortable to touch. That I can fold it and wad it up in a corner, and yet the resolution matches a Retina smartphone display.
But it'll take about 10 years to achieve that vision. Aumann uses ordinary fabric to create the foundation the Fraunhofer Institute can build on. One requirement, the fabric has to be sufficiently translucent. The conductors will be woven into the fabric later. For now, there are just rudimentary prototypes.
I would like to integrate the technology in the fabric and enable the creation of a new material.
Berlin blogger Kiki Albrecht writes the random noise. She's been observing the fusion of technology and fashion for years.
I do believe that technology can help to simplify our lives. It always plays an important role. But in fashion, it has to bow to aesthetic concerns.
High-tech fashion is also making an appearance on the runway at Berlin Fashion Week. At Kilian Kerner's show, models are wearing jewelry made with a 3D printer. They're the work of Berlin jewelry designers from Void Studio. With 3D printing, you can create forms that would be almost impossible to achieve with conventional means.
Ich finde es einfach eine perfekte Ergänzung, die klassischen Sachen, das aufzubrechen, und es war natürlich einfach total schön, dass die nochmal auf eine andere Art und Weise meine Haptiken übernehmen konnten und dadurch einfach nochmal den I-Punkt draufsetzen.
Above all, technology in fashion is mainly intended to serve a purpose. This jacket can give an attacker an electric shock. And this one can send out an emergency signal. Veronika Aumann's Screenstoff is intended to act as an interactive screen, but the manufacture of this prototype still runs some 20,000 euros, and it's not even washable yet.
A big hurdle is making the design suitable for everyday use. The semiconductors make that very difficult. If you machine wash the fabric at 60 degrees, you wreck them. That's why it's very important to see how practical you can make an interactive t-shirt of this kind and how much people are prepared to pay for it.
Und was sind Leute auch bereit dafür zu zahlen?
夏季人们常常选择游泳来避暑，泳衣就成了必不可少的装备。本期节目将介绍上个世纪以来泳衣的发展历程，并探访一位时尚设计师。他的设计打破了传统的一件式泳衣风格。他设计的泳衣不只是一件泳衣，甚至具备高级时装的品质。
It's one of the more unlikely comebacks in the fashion world, the women's one-piece bathing suit. It now dares to be modern, even sexy. This is the summer of the one-piece, as Austrian fashion magazine editor Melanie Gleinser observes.
The one piece is definitely making a comeback, but not as a bathing suit as such. Historically, it's always been a more functional item. It arose from the need to go swimming and still be clothed. But today that's changed. Bathing suits can even have haute couture qualities.
Veronika Dreyer in Vienna designs and makes one-pieces with something besides swimming in mind. The label stands for elegant, minimalist design in top quality. It was founded by Anna Ishorn and a partner in 2013 in response to a shortage of interesting and original swimwear. All seams are double-stitched for greater comfort. High-quality fabrics hug the figure and maintain its form. Worn with slacks or a skirt, the bathing suits can be suitable as streetwear too.
What really bothered us is that many one pieces, as well as bikinis, are modeled closely on underwear. We set out to create something that can pass as a complete outfit. A woman in one of our bathing suits is relatively well dressed. We think that's precisely where the sex appeal comes from. You feel dressed, so you're free to do what you want. And you don't have to worry about anything slipping.
London's Fashion and Textile Museum is currently holding an exhibition of women's bathing fashions during the last 100 years. In the 1940s and 50s, women's swimsuits began to take on the form they have today. The one-piece was developing quite nicely until the day the two-piece arrived.
The real change in the 40s and 50s, which was swimwear that was one piece and was concerned with changing the shape of the body, was the popularity of the bikini and society's willingness and interest in showing more skin, more revealing swimming costumes. So it was that shift. It was the shift from control and covering up to less control and more exposure.
Back in Vienna, the Vidoni clothing shop has been offering exclusive swimwear for almost 30 years. This summer, the owner has had a flurry of inquiries from young women about one-piece bathing suits. She knows what's in fashion.
This bathing suit fuses several trends. On the one hand, the material resembles neoprene, giving a sporty effect. And on the other hand, these cutouts make it very interesting. This is another trend, pastel, soft, feminine. Prints have gotten a bit more extreme, and the designers are playing with the colors more. It looks fantastic.
The one-piece swimsuit is experiencing a comeback, even if not of mass appeal just yet.
It will simply take some time because over the past 30 years we've learned to think the bikini makes a woman look attractive and a one-piece makes her look unattractive because it hides her. But the opposite is really the case. A well-made bathing suit is incredibly attractive.
In 2015, the one-piece swimsuit has shed its dowdy image and can compete with the bikini at the lake, pool, or beach. Now all that's needed is the right weather.
托勒密·埃尔灵顿是一位来自布莱顿的英国艺术家。在他看来，大街上的轮毂罩是真正的宝贝。他收集废弃的轮毂罩做成雕塑，并命名为“骨盖生灵”。 废物回收再利用是他作品的主要特点。他赋予了这些废弃物新的生命，将它们变成了一件又一件的艺术品。
Hubcaps turned into works of art. Their traditional function may be to protect the wheels of a car, but for Ptolemy Elrington, the small discs are perfect for creating sculptures, especially of animals.
People think a hubcap is just a hubcap, but actually they're made out of lots of different types of plastic, so they're very versatile. You've got all the different shapes and things to play with. Basically, that's what I'm doing. I'm playing when I'm working.
The artist makes adjustments to the hubcaps in his studio. Having studied art and design in the 1980s, he now works for himself as a sculptor. He generally avoids using photographs, sketches, or templates as a basis for his work. Instead, he lets himself be guided by the form of the hubcaps themselves.
Sometimes I am surprised because there are some elements within the materials that I use that kind of take over and give it a certain character, and other times I'm surprised at quite how difficult it can be. Sometimes I can spend all day just working on one little thing and never quite getting it right and working it again and again and again, and I don't know why. I know when it's right, but I just do, and then I'm happy.
Ptolemy Elrington has been creating art out of hubcaps for 15 years now. Some creations can be completed in a day. Others he spends weeks on.
The thing about creating, whether you're painting or drawing or making sculpture, the most important thing is to be able to look properly. And it's about making your eye and your brain work together properly, so that you can translate the shapes that you see in your mind into something more physical in front of you.
He's created hundreds of sculptures. A single piece fetches an average of 1,000 euros. The price depends on the amount of time invested in the work. Some can cost up to 40,000 euros.
I kind of stumbled on that as an idea because I used to live near a bend where they used to collect on the side of the road, and after a while I started picking them up because it just seemed such a waste. The council were coming along and collecting them, and they were going into landfill, and some of them were really beautiful designs.
He still scours the streets for material to include in his artworks and continues to collect the hubcaps he finds on the way to his studio in Brighton. His collection is in the hundreds. He orders them according to brand, size, material, and shape. He also gets some as gifts from his friends and family.
That's a Seat one. That's got a little bit of bend to it, which is good. But the thing that first I'd notice with this would be this oval shape here and this shape here, because already to me that's looking like a shark's mouth. So if you spin it around, you've got this kind of shape going on.
He also incorporates old shopping trolleys and spare car parts into his pieces. Recycling is an integral part of his work.
I always try to include some kind of recycling aspect, just to try to get that message as part of what I do out there. I think the way that the world is at the moment, I'm never going to run out of raw materials, and I certainly don't think I'm going to run out of the drive to make things out of them. So in the future, I'm just going to keep on doing what I like doing.
He's currently working on a dinosaur made from old bicycle frames. Ptolemy Elrington is a master of breathing new life into old materials.
1925年，一家名叫比阿特里斯的轻歌剧剧院在萨拉曼卡成立。20世纪90年代早期，法国设计师菲利普·斯塔克将它改造为特阿特里斯餐厅。餐厅的酒吧令人惊叹， 设计师将设计从传统中解放出来，把剧院改成餐厅和酒吧，在当时是设计史上的一个里程碑式的事件。
In 1925, an operetta house called Beatriz opened in the stylish Madrid district of Barrio de Salamanca. In the early 1990s, the French designer Philippe Starck turned the Beatriz into the Teatriz, a restaurant with a spectacular bar. Philippe Starck created a dramatic composition. The old fly loft, still dark and gloomy, towers above a backlit marble bar set in the centre of the stage. The bar overlooks the auditorium, a large rectangular block of stone gleaming like an altar. It's cast in a solemn light, as if, like a stage in antiquity, it's a place where sacrifices have to be made. Operator Ignacio Bonilla sees the reference to the building's theatrical past as an important element of the design.
A partir de ahí descubrimos que teníamos que darle vida a este teatro único y visualizaron dos personas geniales como es Philippe Starck, conocido mundialmente, y Plácido Arango, que era lo que tenía que representar. Y descubrieron que había que tener una coherencia y mantener el origen de ese teatro Beatriz. Por eso su nombre, que es Teatriz, y a partir de ahí idearon un sitio mágico donde poder descubrir distintas sensaciones, donde poder disfrutar de una buena comida, de tomar una copa con un amigo o de disfrutar una tapa española.
The theatre's conversion into a bar and restaurant 20 years ago was a milestone in the history of design. It freed design from the convention of seeking to be just functional or just decorative. Philippe Starck was the leader of that movement. He elevated design to art, often making it the star of the show. The conversion of the Beatriz gave him the chance to make a manifesto. It proclaimed that design sets the stage. It is not primarily packaging for things that are useful. From then on, designers created objects as part of a bigger presentation. They learned from theatres, they learned from museums, even from churches, all of which owe their impacts to the power of the overall impression.
Aparte, en la parte de la entrada es un bar con las columnas que entraron en la esencia, y todo el camino te tiene que traer y recorrer como si fuera la antigüedad de un teatro. Las propias cortinas describen mucho esa teatralidad y hasta los uniformes y los detalles. Y la manera del menú, el menú está exhibido como si fueran primer acto, segundo acto y tercer acto. Y tiene que tener todo coherencia y que tenga y mantenga esa esencia. Y el espíritu que pretendemos transmitir todos los que trabajamos en Teatriz es que todos los días nos enfrentamos a una obra de teatro y que todos los días tienen que salir nuestros espectadores felices de aquí.
20 years ago, the choice of materials was deliberately provocative. Marble, gold and silver, symbols of luxury and opulence. Philippe Starck made sparing use of powerful, very dominant motifs. It was mainly the theatrical aura of the space that helped him radically redefine design.
当上万人在汉诺威街头游行和跳舞时，那一定是一年一度、为期10天的射手节。像这样的场面隆重的节日，德国有近1000个。人们身着当地传统服饰，享用美食和美酒，到处充满着音乐和舞蹈。他们延续了德国的传统，置身于这样轻松的德国节日当中，你可以尽情地释放自己，抛开所有的烦恼。
When more than 10,000 people march and dance through the streets of Hanover, it must be the annual Marksman's Festival. Some 200,000 onlookers have gathered despite temperatures of around 37 degrees Celsius. The 10-day event is reportedly the largest of its kind worldwide. Lisa Marie Müller is festival queen this year. She won the 2015 women's shooting contest.
Everyone sticks together. When you enter the square in uniform, it's like one big family. It's unbelievable.
Back in the 19th century, marksmen's associations were politically active citizens' militia. Today, they're just sports clubs and subject to Germany's strict gun laws. The Hanover Festival has a 500-year-long tradition. It's a huge draw for locals.
Die deutschen Feste zeichneten sich immer durch etwas aus,
German festivals always have an air of coziness about them.
Einhergeht. Der Idee, dass man sich
Here you can just be yourself,
dass man so für einen kurzen
and
Moment
for a
diese
short
ganzen
time you can
Zwänge
throw all your
auf
cares
einen
to the
lassen,
wind.
dass man die mal kurz über Bord wirft.
Sascha Sabo is a sociologist, and he's written several books on German festivals. There are almost 1,000 such events in Germany. Many have a religious origin, and some date back over 1,000 years. They feature local costumes, and guests enjoy beer or wine. Food is served, and there are funfair attractions. There's music and dance like elsewhere, but some features are typically German, like swaying to the music. And whether they take place in large cities or small villages, they all fulfill one function.
Eine Gemeinschaft.
They create a feeling of community.
Diese
It's very important for each individual who takes part in the events to feel that they belong to a larger entity.
Während diesem Fest als Teil von einem größeren Ganzen empfindet.
Munich's Oktoberfest is the most famous German beer bash by far, and the largest worldwide. It attracts over 6 million visitors every year, and it's made Bavarian Dirndls, Lederhosen, and beer synonyms for traditional German culture.
Nach dem Zweiten Weltkrieg, als jetzt die Amerikaner als Besatzungsmacht in Bayern waren, exportierten sie nun diese Art bayerischer Lebensfreude in die ganze Welt. Das heißt, international wurde jetzt das Oktoberfest zu einem Synonym für deutsche Feierkultur.
Hamburg pays tribute to its seafaring roots with a harbor festival. While wine-grilling regions also have their own special festivities. The one in Durkheim claims it's the world's largest wine festival, but there are lots of smaller regional varieties. For example, in Freiburg, which is home to sociologist Sascha Sabo. He sees these festivals as useful areas of research. People of all social backgrounds gather here, though some say it's a rather lowbrow way to have fun.
Tatsächlich ist aber die kulturelle Funktion und auch der kulturelle Wert, den diese Feste erlauben, historisch verwirrt, sehr wertvoll und eigentlich auch ein Kulturgut, das gar nicht genug gewürdigt wird.
Back in Hanover, the merrymaking continues for 10 days. For many, the event brings back memories of family outings, first love, ice cream, and candy.
It's pure fun. It's carrying on a tradition.
We just came to have a good time and watch the events.
And have fun.
And for Lisa Marie Müller and her fellow club members, it's the social highlight of the year.
It's exceptional. You dress up in your fancy uniform every day and stand out in the crowd.
Music, entertainment, and a beer or two. A great way to relax and forget your troubles.
法国南部的尼斯是蓝色海岸的一颗宝石，每年有350万游客来这里感受蔚蓝海岸的风味。这里气候温和，拥有美丽的沙滩、举世闻名的艺术博物馆和美味的食物。英国人漫步大道是尼斯的地标，接下来我们就带您去那里转转。
Nice is a jewel on the French Riviera. Holidaymakers flock to the city renowned for its mild Mediterranean climate. Promenade des Anglais is a landmark in Nice. The 7-kilometre-long walkway is named after British tourists who proposed and financed its construction in the 19th century. Imposing buildings line the route.
The Promenade des Anglais is very important to Nice. It became a glamorous place in the 19th century. The place where grand hotels were built and rich visitors came for spa holidays. The walkway became Nice's showcase, and an entire district grew up around it. The promenade made Nice famous, sparking a trend now known around the globe as tourism.
Et une ville complètement dédiée à un phénomène mondialement connu aujourd'hui, le tourisme.
This stretch of coastline was just a pebbly beach until wealthy British vacationers financed the construction of the promenade. Opened in 1824, it made Nice a tourist destination. Luxury Hotel Negresco is the most famous building along the promenade. Built in the style of the Belle Époque, it opened its doors in 1912. The Cours Salaya market in the Old Town is an institution in Nice. Held daily, it's the city's oldest market. Vendors have been selling their wares here for over 150 years. The market is also famous for its colourful flowers, which inspired artists like Henri Matisse and Marc Chagall. Journalist Petra Hall has been coming here for many years.
Here at the Cours Salaya market, many things come together. Wonderful scents, aromas, colors. Mixed together, they create a Mediterranean flair that the artists found irresistible. Here they also found the motifs they needed for their artwork.
Marc Chagall painted many pictures of Nice. They can be seen at the National Museum, which bears the artist's name. Over 400 of his works are on display here, making it the world's largest Chagall collection open to the public.
Marc Chagall discovered the Côte d'Azur in 1926. He was dazzled by all the flowers at the market. He returned after the Second World War, after living in exile in America. He lived here from 1948 until his death in 1985. He was inspired by the region's light and the colors.
Nice's Old Town dates back more than 2,000 years. Its winding alleyways and pastel-coloured buildings resemble those of Italian towns. And no wonder. Until it was annexed by France over a century and a half ago, Nice still belonged to the Kingdom of Sardinia.
Since 1860, Nice, the county of Nice, because it's the whole region from here to Menton, has belonged to France. But Italian culture, Italian cuisine, and the Italian dialect have been retained here. And you can sense that everywhere.
Nice's Port District has recently become hip. New parks have been created, like this one near Place Massena, Nice's main square. Young entrepreneurs have also moved in and opened up trendy boutiques and restaurants. Like Comptoir Central Electrique. 2 years ago, it was still an electronics store until German chef Ralf Nuss transformed it into Nice's hottest bistro.
Es zieht immer mehr junge Leute an.
The district is drawing more and more young people. Increasingly, restaurants, bars, and designer stores are opening up here.
Designerläden, sehr viele kreative
A lot
junge
of
Leute,
really
die
creative people
hierher
come here
kommen,
and go out for the
am
evening.
Abend ausgehen hier.
The nicest view over the city can be had from the Colline du Château. The 92-metre-high hilltop park lies between the Old Town and the port. For Ralf Nuss, it's the nicest place in Nice.
Das Besondere ist die Aussicht.
The best thing's
Nizza
the
liegt
view.
dir zu Füßen
Here
und
Nice lies at your
zu jeder
feet at any
Tageszeit
time of the
eigentlich.
day,
Es ist
and at night
schön,
too, when you come
auch
here,
am Abend, wenn man
everything's
kommt
lit up.
und
It's
nur alles
just
beleuchtet
stunning.
sieht. Traumhaft schön die Aussicht.
The Colline du Château doesn't just boast the best view over Nice, it's also the place where this jewel of the French Riviera was once founded.
时尚欧洲精彩呈现，感谢您收看本期的欧洲大观，我是黄杰，下期同一时间我们再见。